Now it's time to create the module which will display the form on our submission form page. So if we go to our editor and inside of the mode folder, let's create a new file and call it form.php. We also need to add this file to our modules table. So if we go to our modules table, click on insert and let's type form.php and click on go. Now that we have this record added, we know that the ID of the form module is 2. If we go back to our text editor, and first of all what we're going to do, we're going to open the PHP tag and echo the content which is passed to this module via getMode function. Another thing, if we go back to our phpMyAdmin, if we go to our pages and click on browse, we need to check submission form has ID of 2. So our form module and submission form has the same ID. So now we go to pages modules and click on insert. We need to specify the page ID, which is 2, and the module ID, which is 2 as well. And click on go. Now we have merged those two entities, which is a page and a module. So every time the page will load, it will load the module, and the entire content will be fed through this module. But before this happens, we also have to amend our functions.php file. So if we open our functions.php, scroll down to our render function, and after content variable, if we type module equals fetch module ID, and we will be passing the ID of the page, so row ID. So we are assigning this fetch module ID function is the function which we'll create in just a minute. But before that, let's just continue with our statement. Now we will create the if condition. If module isn't empty, which means if the record has been found, then echo get mode module. And we also, after the module, we also need to provide the contents to be displayed inside of this module. So if we have any page and we've placed any text, images, or whatever else on this page, then obviously we want this to be available to us as well inside of the module itself. If module was not found, then else we will simply use our push layout content to display purely content on the page. So now that we have this done, let's create our fetch module ID function. So if we scroll down, fetch module by page ID. Okay, page ID and function and ID. We start with a SQL statement equals select module from pages modules where page equals, and now we need to escape the value, so SQL escape ID, and now we also continue, just limit 1 to make sure that just one page is returned. Okay, now that we have this done, let's type row equals fetch 1 SQL, and we return value is an empty row, which means if record has been found, then display row module, which is the ID of the module, otherwise return null. Okay, so now that we have this done, if we scroll up to our function, you can see what we're doing here. First of all is we're searching for this module, passing the page ID. If inside of the pages modules we'll find the record which has page ID of the same ID as we pass into this function, then we want the module ID to be returned by our fetch module ID, and this module ID is assigned to our variable. Now we check if obviously this condition has been true, if we got this module ID. If we did, then we use our getMod function to populate the specific module, and we also pass the content as I mentioned earlier. And now obviously if we go to our browser, to our submission form, if I refresh, you can see we are seeing the submission form text, which is what is passed from the pages table. However, because we didn't include any header and footer, we only see this text. So what we need to do now is to require once, and we're going to require first tmp header.php, and then we simply require footer.php. If we save this file, we go back to the browser, refresh, you can see we are back to what it was before, and only this time the whole page is actually fed through the module.